Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I've got your first gameplay and overview straight from the Storm Warning dev server for the RDFLT. This is a currently rank 7 battle rating 11.7 light tank in the American Ground Forces tech tree, of course a premium, and is likely to be a pack vehicle if I'm not mistaken. If this thing looks a little bit similar, well, the reason is because, yeah, the HSTV-L is pretty much just a slightly heavier version of this with a better engine and also a higher top speed, but the HSTV-L only has 26 rounds. This has up to 60. Absolutely crazy. It's just, as of current also, this lacks smoke grenades, but 60 rounds. 60 rounds. And the thing is, each and every one of those rounds is part of the first stage ammo stowage, which means that they can be fired continuously until you run out of ammunition. So you only have a 1.5 second reload between shots, and you can fire literally all 60 of them in, 90 seconds. That is bonkers, which one of the big problems with the HSTV-L is that it just doesn't have enough ammunition. That is probably going to be solved with this vehicle. But it does, of course, have a lower amount of horsepower. It does weigh about 10 tons less, or around 7 tons less, but it does have a much lower top speed at only 55 kilometers per hour, which is still decent, but at this BR, 55 kilometers per hour just doesn't really cut the cake. It does have a decent enough power to weight ratio, pretty average, not really something that you'd expect from a light tank. Again, the HSTV-L wins in that regard. Otherwise, pretty similar. It's got the same Gen 1 thermals. It has the same exact cannon, same ammo options, which is cool. And again, dev server, but this does lack commander's optics. This, believe it or not, is a gunner's sight, so we'll have to wait and see if the commander's optic actually comes into game. That being said, let's go ahead and test this thing out a little bit in a match or two, see how it performs. But yeah, this is going to ruin top tier. Like, everybody who has extra high energy and their mother's credit card is just going to be like, oh man, I've always seen this, I've always wanted this thing, oh my god, this is great. And then they're just going to get into a match and completely wreck top tier American win rates, which have already been terribly low as of recent. But that said, let's get into a few matches and see how this thing performs. So here we are with the RDFLT, and I can tell you guys right off the bat that even though its power to weight ratio is worse than the HSTV-L, I don't really think that's what's going to be hurting it. Rather, it's the top speed. So it can hit 55 kilometers per hour pretty easily, but getting beyond that is obviously impossible, barring like a fall down a mountain or something, just because of how its gearing is limited. So, yeah, it's not really going to be all that great insofar as top speed is concerned, which is a little bit of a concern, being that this is a light tank after all, and most MBTs around this BR have, like, 60 to 70 kilometer per hour top speeds, so they're not going to be able to... this is not going to be able to match most MBTs, which is a little bit concerning. You know, not something that I want to see with any light tank. Light tank. You got your TV license? Any hoodles. We're going to keep on moving up here. Okay. Woo! Lucky me. Ammo explosion. Although... Okay. Oh, and bear this in mind as well. Being that this is a, the dev server, we do have a lot of bots that we're gonna have to contend with. So, you're gonna see probably a few World War II vehicles, and those are just controlled more or less again by robots. Okay, we have man, these people really want to be dead. Let's go ahead and respawn. Also, shout out to Senor Bozo. Thank you for recognizing me. I greatly appreciate that. It really does mean the world to me whenever somebody mentions me. But that said, this vehicle is, thus far, pretty good. I mean, I can't really complain. I feel like, again, this is an HSTV-L, but different. You know, it does definitely have the advantage of having 60 rounds, which we really haven't seen quite yet kind of be in full display, just because I haven't had to expend anything more than, 26 rounds, which I think is the limit on the HSTV-L. But it is a very, very nice bonus that this vehicle has. So we have a CV90105 somewhere around here, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like I'm about to be killed by him. Okay, there he is. He is toast now. I was able to get him, thankfully. Like, if you can manage to pen an enemy with this thing, you'll do okay. And that's the thing. When you are using this vehicle, it's not always going to pen. You only have, like, what, 276 millimeters of armor pen, which isn't fantastic by any means, but it's sufficient to go through pretty much the sides of vehicles and also pretty much through all light vehicles. So it's a powerful enough shell, and it's also big enough where it can do substantial enough damage. So that said, let's get into one more quick match and see what it is. So this is interesting, the RDFLT versus a Leopard 2A4M, and with the exception of the fact that this guy is taking wider paths, he is going faster than me in general, or at least he had been before he took kind of a worse path. But basically, the point is that with this vehicle, with the RDF, you're going to have... Yeah, he's already passing me, but like by a good amount. That's an MBT, you know, a heavy MBT at that. And so what's going to end up having to happen here is that you're going to have to consider in every match the fact that this is, like, with light tanks, you tend to be among the faster tanks in game. This is slower than most MBTs. I mean, it's got a similar enough power to weight ratio compared to them, but insofar as its top speed is concerned, it is slower. And that's a gigantic consideration that you're going to have to figure in while playing this thing, because it doesn't have the armor to withstand anything, right? Like, a side shot, like, if you get hit from the side, you're going to die when it comes to an HMG or an autocannon. If you get hit from anywhere, you're going to die if it's like a regular tank cannon that's shooting at you. So this vehicle has tons of limitations. Okay, we have a Leopard. Hopefully it doesn't turn around. Perfect. Leopard 2A6. Too bad we weren't able to kill him before he got my ally. But that's basically it. You know, I really like this vehicle, don't get me wrong, and the fact that it has such a nice amount of ammunition relative to the other, you know, to the HSTV-L, that says something, but at the end of the day, too, it's got limited mobility, and so you're going to have to weigh out which one matters more to you, mobility or firepower. And, you know, of course, firepower between the two are the same, but you get extended firepower with the with the RDF over the HSTV-L. So it's kind of a decision that you'd have to make. So let's see here. I'm just going to keep on moving up, but ultimately, it's just really difficult to tell more or less how things are going to play out when you're playing on the dev server, because most of my enemies here are... Woo! Okay, we have another tank. We have a horde. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look at that. That was ideal. I'm going to probably die soon, but I'm fine with that. That is exactly how you want to play a tank like this. Like, 100%. You want to come up behind enemy tanks. And that's kind of what I fear, is because, like, if you don't have flanking speed to be able to basically outflank the enemy, like, if they can flank faster than you can flank, then that's going to end up with them spanking your flank, if that makes any sense. And so it's a weird spot for this to be in, but we're never going to know until the server goes live, until the update goes live. But nice! We have the horizontal and vertical and gunner. And I kind of fear... Holy cow, he almost got me. Ah, too bad. But that said, I think that's enough for this. Like I said, I feel that this vehicle is good, but ultimately we'll have to wait until the dev server to come out. It's a slow light tank is really what it is, and it's slower than most MBTs. It's 28 kilometers per hour slower than the HSTV-L. It's in a weird spot for a light tank. So Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But either way, thanks so much for watching. Ooh, look at that. I didn't know that it had IR, like the auto track feature. I was actually not aware of that. Does the HSTV-L have that? I forget. Any hoodles, thanks for watching. I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.